entrepreneur.
And this platform is supposed to be for people to grow. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Dave L. Moore Podcast. I am your host, Dave L. Moore, and today I got one of my dope homies, man, in the car business with me, Mr. Jimmy Dolan. Mr. Dolan, tell the people about yourself a little bit, brother.
What's going on, Dave? Yeah, my name is Jimmy Dolan. I'm in the auto industry here in St. Louis. 13 years in the industry. It was a life changer for me. Previously, I was in the radio business. I was an on-air producer, kind of a jack of all trades, make commercials. It's not a lavish income when you start in radio. So I thought, hey, that's the type of money I'm going to make. And then my main point of duty at the radio station I worked at here in St. Louis was to produce the Cardinals commercials and then do the voiceovers for them as well. So a contract ended. I was fired. And so in the meantime, I had to try to find some jobs. I was trying to look at, I had a job offer in North Dakota. I had a job offer in Gettysburg where they wanted me on the radio and to write on the newspaper, which I was like, I'm not a newspaper writer. What is there to write in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania? Civil War? I'm like, what's going on there?
Right.
So a person you may be familiar with, because you've been with your company for quite some time, Frank Opinion, which was a big sponsor of Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, said, well, let me try to see if I can get you into car sales. Maybe Johnny Londoff will hire you. So I interviewed and I got the job. And that was my taste into the car business.
Right on, right on. Now, man, I know Jimmy for a while, man. I got to watch his path from a salesperson to ultimately where he is now, man. And, you know, this whole thing started because we kind of wanted to help the youth or help the younger generation through the car business a little bit because we're noticing a little bit of a trend, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. So
we're noticing the trend, and the trend ain't really that positive right now. So we want to bring a couple things to light and maybe try to coach and counsel and motivate, man, so you all can absolutely understand that, man, this business can change your life. This business, if you take it seriously, I mean, you can achieve things that you never thought you could. I mean, it's absolutely an industry where if you take the time and you put the hard work in, man, will it benefit you. And it's something that you can have longevity with. You know, I'm 47. I'm 25 years in at 47. So I turned the switch on early, you know, and like we were talking before the show started, you got people who use terminology like, this is my job. This is my job. And as a manager, what we're looking for is people who are saying, man, this is my career. This is what I do. Somebody asks you, Dave, what do you do? I'm a car guy. I'm a proud car guy. Somebody say, Jimmy, what do you do? Your answer is, I'm a car guy.
Right.
It's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I know. So my question, bro, is of the people that are coming into the car business right now, how do we keep them engaged and locked in so they take this serious, man?
So, you know, it's a different generation that's coming into the workforce now, right? So, I mean, we all use the terminology, and for people that don't understand the terminology, old car dogs, it's a terminology that's been used for a while. It's usually someone that's been in the business for a long time. Sometimes they're burned out, or sometimes they ain't never going to retire, right? So, but those traditional salespeople that we all experienced dealing with, they're going to retire, right? Yep. So, and we're starting to see a fluctuation of younger people getting into it. Some people that are coming into this new industry, the automotive industry, are coming in, either they're successful, which is social media, and they don't need too much guidance because they're on TikTok, Instagram, things that me and you probably don't really play around with and would never use to sell a car.
Right.
But people are motivated by that and actually use it as a tool, which people of our generation should probably learn a little bit more and get better at it. And so that way we understand the workforce that is coming in. I think one thing is when piggybacking on when you say this is my job versus a career, I think it's on people like me and you that are in leadership roles at our dealerships to give them that why.
Yeah.
Why would this be your career? It's more than just, hey, we give you a lot of money to sell a car or have the opportunity to make a lot of money. There's got to be a why behind it. Why we're looking at exceptional customer service, we're looking for engagement, and we have to give this younger generation the proper tools to be able to execute what we need, and then go towards these marketing trends that we're looking at too. It's social media. Of course, people still use the third-party vendors to but again, that's people like probably more me or you, the younger demographic that are in their early 20s, shop different. So I wouldn't buy a car off of TikTok or be inspired to buy a car off of TikTok.
Right.
It's just we shop different. So you got to think about the shoppers that are the younger crowd that is the generation behind us. And then also think like them too, or at least try to understand where their mindset is and what makes it their most important thing to turn it into a career. I mean, you look at what people say, they want time off. There's not a lot of time off in the car business, right? So do we either adjust to that trend to get reliable quality people to where we have good employee retention and good guest retention?
It's I think, man, as like you said, as leaders in the industry, or especially at our respective dealerships, giving these kids or giving these younger people or giving the new people, because they're not all young, it's just new people, because giving the new people a why is so important. Because, and here's something that I struggle with, man. Soon as you get a little pressure on you, the first thing you want to do is talk about what you used to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? What I used to do is, and I'm starting to hear myself and I'm starting to catch myself, because guess what? If I didn't want to hear what the old dudes used to do, guess what this generation don't want to hear?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want to hear what I used to do. What they want is solutions to issues. They want a clear, mapped out plan of how they can be successful. So I do the best I can as far as motivating to educate our salespeople, educate the people that come in to buy cars, because if you take this industry very seriously, man, not only is it something that you can have monetary gain, but you can fulfill your life, dude, because you're actually providing a service to people. You're providing a service to people that most people don't understand. They don't get that the way you get from an average car person to an excellent car person is just minor details. Minor details. Pay attention to the minor details. And you get these older dogs, like you said, the old car dogs, man, the ones that, we used to call them 3D salespeople back then, them old day off and drop. That's what you want. That's cool. But now, it's not enough to sit back and wait for the phone to ring with your feet back on your desk.
No.
And it's not enough to just sit there and depend on the dealership to bring in thousands of customers a year in order for you to sell cars. Because honestly, when I sold cars, that was the deal. We just had to show up, and the dealership brought the people in, and then we were just, we did what we had to do. But now in today's world, people shop differently. The clientele's different. Like you said, it's people who will buy a car off TikTok. It's people who buy a car off Facebook Marketplace. That might not be my cup of tea, how I personally would shop. But look at the trend. You get more successful salespeople who figured out social media than you do off anything else. Let me ask you, do you think that's positive or negative?
I think it's positive.
Okay.
So, and I think if someone thought it was negative, we just have to readjust our mindset. I think today in today's market, everything is about vision and guidance. You have to have a vision, you have to have a game plan, and then you need to guide your staff and give them the reason, or at least have some evidence of why we should be doing what we're doing. For the company that I work for, our motto is being the most guest-centric automotive group in the nation. And they take it very seriously. And going back on like something like the why, we could one dealership could have the same exact car for the same exact price, and another dealership could have a car that is priced, let's call it $500 more. But if there's that guest centric attitude that you are there for them after the sale and you train your team how to do it, you can have two cars priced the same. Who's going to sell it? It's not based on solely advertising. It's based on execution and how a guest at your dealership is treated. One example, this is a crazy example, and this is more based on vision. So I don't know if you remember, IBM had something, I don't remember what the name was, but came around the same time as Apple with the iPod. Now, IBM was known as a really good, reliable computer.
Yep.
Right? Apple had a vision. So Apple advertised that this could hold, I don't remember the exact amount, but it said, let's say it said, you can hold 10,000 songs. Well, IBM said you can hold, 50 megabytes. How does that relate to anyone?
Right.
Like,
right.
You don't know what a megabyte is.
Right.
Songs, I'm in this little itty bitty thing, I'm in. So it's about how you approach stuff, because that failed. Apple had a vision. They knew how to execute. And that's what I think we can look at. Even though we're local businesses, we need to start thinking with that kind of mindset of how do we open up, explain to our employees, our team members, the vision we want to execute and why someone would want to buy a car from our Chevrolet dealership, our Infiniti dealership, Lexus, whichever, right? So all about the vision of why someone should shop with you. And I think that's something that would excite the younger generation who is approaching or getting into this workforce. Because I personally think what I read and what I see when hiring someone much younger than me, they want to be passionate about something. Right. So money's not, when it was me and you getting in this business, it was all about money, right?
Absolutely.
We wanted the best pay plan. We wanted an owner that didn't give us any trouble, just treated us decent, didn't yell at us.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a little bit of grief here and there. It is what it is. It's just totally different now. You can still hold people accountable, but you got to guide them. And if you're looking to, I don't know, let someone go, the one thing I always say is, why was the reason I hired them? If you're frustrated with how something's going, it's on you.
Yeah.
Not on them. You haven't trained them properly, unless they're doing something, insane that you have to go. Right. But if their performance is not there, it's on you. You gave them the opportunity. So reinstate your vision and then figure out how to keep this person and make it a career for them.
Yeah. The one thing I always pay attention to, if you can't make it work with someone, I take that to heart, man, because if they go somewhere else and they become successful, man, when I tell you, dude, that's tough for me to swallow, because that means that I could not figure out how to unlock their potential. So it wasn't on them. That's on me.
Right.
Because I'm the one that couldn't figure out. My teacher in school used to have a sign on his door. It would say, if I can't teach the way you can learn, or if you can't learn the way I can teach, I have to figure out how to teach the way you can learn.
Correct. And
and that's powerful, man. And as far as what you were talking about, man, it is imperative that you give people a success plan, because now we're in the generation of fact checking. We're in the generation of, if you tell somebody something, they're going to pop their phone out and fact check you right now. Yeah. Our generation was, don't ask no questions, be quiet, do what I tell you, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Here, that does not work, my friend.
No,
that doesn't work.
That's the way through your work day or on. It's so much easier to be held accountable, or forcing people that may not be so honest to start being honest.
Right. You force that behavior, which, and being in the auto industry, we get our share of ridicule. Cool, no problem. Every industry has it. Every industry has its positives, its negatives. the positives about the car business now, we're starting to see a little bit of change as far as hours go. We talked about it a little bit earlier. It's a grind for some people.
Right.
But, you know, for me, I remember the hours of 9 to 9, Monday through Saturday. You know, I remember those like no time off days, you know, years. I remember that. And now the stuff that we have now, we're kind of like, man, it's a blessing to go home when it's light outside.
Right.
You know?
And then,
you know, and the kids now, they're like, what? You used to work what? And you're like, man, it doesn't matter anymore.
No.
But we can appreciate that because we saw where we come from.
Right.
You know, and you and I have an advantage. What's the advantage? I call us the tweeners. We have the ability to go up to the older generation and still deal with the old dogs and still talk to them and communicate well with them. Plus, we can get down here into our 20s and 30s, and we still got rap for them as well. We still got conversation for them. So when you're blessed to have the education of the old and the young, you know, you take from the old and give to the young. You take from the young and you give that to the old to help them stay young, you know, as long as they can. But being the tweener, I think right now is very important. Very important. Just like being, as I call, a multifunctional manager. Multifunctional manager means that you've done all the jobs. You understand how these deals work from beginning to end. There's no job or no function in the dealership that you can't do. Those are multifunctional managers, and those are very important right now.
Right.
You know, if you took the time to build yourself in that way, that is what's driving the car business. Remember, we sold cars. There was no submitting up front in any of that.
No.
That wasn't a thing. All you did was your part, and you go back there and you stand next to the finance guy door and do like this and hope that you hear printing.
Right.
You know,
well, it's also leading by example when you have that multi knowledge of each department, and by leading by example, you show that you're in it to win it too, and you'll do anything that you ask your employees or team members to do. Just like for the other day, I mean, I ran and brought a car down to get it cleaned myself and get it gassed up.
That's right.
Everybody was busy. I didn't have anything to do. I locked my computer. I brought it up just to help out because it's more important to help out and show that, hey, I'm with you guys too. I'll never do anything. I'll never ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. And
absolutely.
That's part of leadership.
Absolutely, brother. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, I say all the time that, you know, the rent of respect is due daily. You know, it's not something that you do one time and you impress somebody once. Once you're on the team, that means that everybody has a job to do. You might have interchangeable jobs. You might have to go bring a car down. You might have to go gas a car. If you have to do whatever you have to do to make sure that that process goes smooth, everybody wins. And I think that's part of being, like you said, a leader. Understand when to insert yourself. And the thing I struggle the most with, learning how to delegate. I'm not the best at delegation, brother. I will take on the task. I don't care what it is, but you know, that's not always the best way, man. You know, you got to learn how to delegate, learn how to depend on people, you know, and that also, I think, giving responsibility to people is a good way to show them that they do have an opportunity for advancement.
Right.
So,
and
go ahead.
I said, and you believe in them.
Yeah, right. Because belief goes a long way, dude. I mean, think about it. There's somebody in your car journey that believed in you, that gave you the opportunity, and you appreciated that opportunity, and you busted your tail for them.
Right.
And that's how you got to where you got. Because to get to where we are, man, you had one shot, one time. You had to make it. You took advantage of it, and the rest is history.
Right.
So,
and you know, the one thing through my career was that the people that did believe in me was solely the people that made this a career for me. You know, I had a general manager named Joe Johnson, treated me fantastic. He was hard on me, but in a good way. And he believed in me. And then, the owner of the dealership too, that I was at where he was the general manager was, is a fantastic person. And, people after that as well. I mean, it's once it clicks and you get someone to guide you on how to operate daily and make you want to wake up, go to work, and feel good about going to work. That's something special. Like a lot of it, when we got in, some managers are good, and then you got, even at the same place, they can be bad. Throwing car pamphlets at somebody and saying figure it out is not going to get them there. That is just lazy management.
Yeah.
You don't care if they make it, great. If not, whatever. That's the wrong attitude by a long shot to have.
Absolutely, man. That was when there was an abundance of people out there trying to sell cars, where it was a rotate. I remember, man, it was always a rotating door. If you had 20 salespeople, you knew you were going to see 5 new ones every month.
Yeah.
Because, they just weren't going to make it. How you train them? Dude told me to go down and write down the VIN numbers to all the cars on the lot.
Or?
Okay. So I went and wrote down all the VIN numbers to the cars on the lot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask questions. I assume you have a plan. Now that you think back about it, man, they just gave me busy work so I wouldn't bother them.
Right. Yeah.
And then you figure it out on your own, and if you're lucky too. And, luckily I had somebody, a mentor, who was there like, hey, man, let me give you the game. This is how you do it. This is what you do. This is how. And then once you figure it out, man, you start to pick up steam. But let's really lock in on, like, right now there's an abundance of trainers, right? You see all these trainers, man. It's from everybody has a way. Everybody says, if you do this, if you say these words, if you take this path, blase, blase, blah. I get it. My opinion personally is that there's always been more than one way to skin a cat. It's kind of like sports. I play tennis. Mm-hmm. Once you get your fundamentals down, then you can tweak stuff here and there to get you to where you're comfortable and you can be the best version of yourself. But it's more than one way to skin a cat, man. I think if you do things the same way over and over again, your success is going to be with people who are like-minded and not the other people. So what do you say to these trainers or to these people that train people to do things one way, one time, only this way?
I disagree with it. I think a lot of trainers, and I'm not talking about anyone specific.
Right, me neither.
But some of them are like, all right, I'm the loudest speaker, so that means I'm right. I'm speaking louder than you. So, I mean, right. I'm showing confidence in my way or the highway. I don't agree with that. It needs to come natural. I think as far as sales training goes, you need to come up with a program in your dealership that works for everyone, and it needs to be a customized training. I don't necessarily agree with hiring training outside, because the one dealership they trained may not have the guest centric or customer service that you want. And you don't want a bunch of boiler room bulldogs, going after your customers because they listen to some guy that's loud and up somebody on a third or fourth, pencil is what we call it. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, that's not good customer service. Is there things that you can learn from good automotive sales training outside of? Sure, no one's can argue that. But not everyone has that personality of, I'm loud and, I'm like this Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street type of person. Mm-hmm. That's nonsense. Not everyone's like that. I don't know who would want to be like that, right?
Right.
So what I think is, training is always ongoing as far as sales go. I think what most important is customer service training. So it's that's what's going to keep team retention and guest employee customer retention all the way around. It's all about how people are treated when they work there and how people are treated when they're purchasing a car, because it's the second biggest purchase they're going to make in their life. So they absolutely deserve the respect and the utmost attention to details when they come in and buy a vehicle. So rather than focusing on pure sales training, what's the 12 steps to the sale? They do need to know that, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think we need to have these writing out a four square, showing how, how we got to the number. If we give factual information to people that makes sense, you're going to win. So
Yeah.
you don't need to be the old car guy that have had every objection to relay back to the customer if they said, I'm not buying today because XYZ. I don't think we're going into a trend like that anymore. I think we need to make sense, and you need to learn how to justify what you're proposing to someone. But I think if I could widgets, I think that's long gone.
Those days are done.
Carvana, they're not. There's no customer service when it goes to Carvana, but and in my opinion, they're not the way to buy a car. There's horror stories, but there's a reason why they got market share is because people didn't want to go in a car dealership and deal with somebody that was just gonna badger them, just wear them out, and force them to buy a car.
Think about it, man. We're in the time now where even you can use DoorDash and Uber, bro.
Right.
You got people who would rather not have the face-to-face interaction at a restaurant, so they'll spend more money to have somebody bring that exact same food to them. Right. And it's because they don't want the experience because in their mind, it's not worth it. People go to Carvana and do things like that because they feel the dealership experience is not worth it. That's why me personally, man, I'm big in the rapport land. I'm huge in rapport land, man. That's where I live. That's where I like to live because once you learn about people, you're not really selling them anything. They're going to buy a car. You're giving them reasons why to buy the car from you.
Right.
Whether it's personal experience, whether it's how they feel about you. I mean, think about it. We all know people who have paid more for cars just because they didn't want to deal with the bad experience maybe that they just had somewhere else.
Right. Or the chance of it. If you treated them well, and they had exceptional customer service, they're going to come back. They're coming back for service. You get to see their face every day. You're able to greet them. You build a personal relationship with somebody. And when they're ready to buy the car, they're ready to buy the car.
Yes.
You see more of that repeat business, just treating people how they should be treated. And I think that's what we need to focus on. I think brick and mortar dealerships are going to be around for quite some time, but for us to be successful and not go to a complete online base, customer service has to be
exceptional.
Yes.
You got to spend, and like you said, it's the second biggest purchase that they make. You should enjoy it. You should have a good time.
Right.
You shouldn't, the day you buy your first house, it shouldn't be a horrible experience, man.
Right.
You should be so excited and so happy to get the keys. And the same way with the automobile. But, again, some trainers train in the loud way, the boisterous way, the way that's kind of intimidating. And some will tell you if you don't believe in that you're not good.
Right.
If you don't do it that way, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's fine. That might work for you. But here in good old St. Louis, Missouri, where, we got 50 million dealerships in a little small town.
Right.
It's so competitive here that you have to treat people right. You can't sit there and browbeat people like we used to. People are going to buy a car as long as it makes logical and fiscal sense.
Right. And there's dealerships too, right, where they agree with that, to where it's like you're the super alpha salesperson and you're not going to take nothing off nobody and they're going to buy or die, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, right? I think that's just not the way to go. I don't agree with it. I wasn't that type of salesperson.
No.
Old cars. I sold me and the dealership before either representing a car.
That's right.
What it's really about, and if you're managing a dealership, you got to have your team members' backs. Don't put junk out there to where you're trying to force them to justify a bad car to sell. I mean, that's complete nonsense. And we've all seen that stuff before. And it's pressure on the guest that's at your dealership. It's pressure on your employee. It's just putting out the right product, having the right attitude, and being ready to just make someone's experience when you visit them exceptional, beyond exceptional, really.
Right. And, in today's world, just think about a restaurant you went to, man, where the food was right, the bill was right, everything was right. The first thing you did when you got in your car was what? Hey, bro, guess where I was just at?
Yeah.
Hey, the food. And that's your referral. As a salesperson, I always wanted to make sure that my customers remember me. As a finance guy, even more, because I want you to understand that, yeah, I'm the guy telling you what your payment is. I'm going over your paperwork. Yeah, you're not leaving my office until you feel as comfortable about this as I do. Huh? Yeah, because I want to make sure that you understand everything that you have. And once you give people that, man, they are so loyal to you. I mean, they are so loyal, man. Being able to say I worked at the same dealership for 15 years, man, it's a blessing, dude. It's a blessing because not many people can say that. Not many people have like that type of longevity because in an ever-changing market, man, if you don't keep up with the times, you're gonna get X'd out. That's what's gonna happen. If you don't prepare yourself, if you don't improve every day, you don't improve every week, it's not gonna work out for you. Especially here. We have a tough freaking market, man. We got a tough market. It's a lot of dealerships in a small area. So it's very competitive. And for owners of dealerships, how do you compete?
Well, I think part of it is is it a tough? I think it's a tough market now just because the market is changing. We listen to our manufacturers about what's going on. I know you're domestics, I'm import. So we're looking at things like what's coming up with these tariffs, right? How's that gonna affect our business? There's so much other things other than just being competitive on pricing that make it tough right now. It's the manufacturers. Some domestic like Jeep, they're overflowed with inventory that they cannot sell.
Yeah.
And they have great frustrations with their manufacturer. And then on the import side, everyone's worried about tariffs. And if they are to come, how's it executed? So you're not only battling pricing or competition, you're also battling things that are completely out of your control, and you can just hope for the best.
Do you think that the media now plays more of a role in the automotive industry than it ever has before?
I think there is, depending on the buyer. I think a lot of people read articles on either Motor Trend or something like that. What's the best car? What's the worst car? If there's issues with the manufacturer, let's say a massive recall or something like that, people are aware of it, and it is going to deter them from buying a vehicle. I 100% believe a smart buyer, especially when it comes to luxury, is looking at that, or any kind of high dollar, a fancy, you name it. I mean, if there's a nasty recall out there, people are aware of it, especially if they're in the market.
Yeah. So as far as my question about the media, it is the one thing I don't like is for some reason right now, the media has a nice stranglehold on a certain segment of buyer. So a certain segment of buyer will sit here and say, hey, you'll hear the questions. What's the best time of the month to buy a car?
There is
we've heard that for years. What's the best time of year to buy a car? When should I buy a car that gives me, the consumer, the most advantage? Those are questions that when I hear, I'm kind of like, me telling the customer, spend more time building a relationship with your salesperson, because your salesperson will tell you when it's time for you to shake and move. They'll tell you based on follow-up when it's time for you to do what you're supposed to do. A salesperson who does their job correctly, the customer never has to worry about anything because they can execute any vehicle they want if they have a used car department. If it's a new car, you already know the trading cycle of the customer because you can sold them a couple cars. So they don't have that same concern about, man, I got to go to this new dealership and deal with this person. I'm like, stick with the same salesperson, especially if you had a great experience. Period. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree with you to an extent. We got to get them first, right?
Yeah.
So, if someone is looking at a new brand, a new dealership, or buying online, whatever they're doing, we gotta find a way to get them there, right? So it's a little beyond advertising. I mean, when it comes to new cars, it's a little different. There's some truths to like new car manufacturers, like for instance, Lexus. They do the December to Remember campaign every year. And successful campaign. If it wasn't, they wouldn't do it. So they do incentives to make sure they have a strong winter month. Sometimes there's some truths to, I don't know, if you're buying a convertible in February, it's probably cheaper than buying it in May. So there's like little truths to it. But I think overall, no, it's just whenever you're ready to buy a car or need a car, you just either need to search out the dealership that you think is going to give you the best customer experience and a fair deal.
Right. And with what's going on right now, as far as what's going on in new cars, what trend? I mean, we're seeing in St. Louis, we're seeing a lot of dealerships either change hands or shut down.
Right.
So a lot of them, personally, I think it's going to be a few more that maybe just don't make it. And what I'm hearing or what I'm noticing is the older generation is not really able to deal with the new car business right now. So rather than try to figure it out, they just rather cash out because it's not working out.
Right.
If you think about it, if you've been a dealer for 20 years, you've watched a certain pattern that's up and down, and maybe it's on a downtrend now and you don't see it coming back up ever. But then you have other dealers, man, who sit here and say, hey, I done figured this market out. I understand how this works. So they're starting to buy these stores. I see a lot of other dealerships in St. Louis either changing hands or not being here. Do you think it's an advantage to have a dealer group, or do you think it's an advantage to be in a small dealer group?
Well, that's a good question. It's kind of a loaded one.
Yeah.
So like what I would agree with is I think these one-off mom and pop stores, COVID was really good to every dealer. Some of them took full advantage and really did those market adjustments, which I've never worked at a dealership at that time that did that. So I kind of use the phrase, we're paying for the sins of others. Yeah. So a lot of it is, all that money that they made, some dealerships are now giving it back because, their prices have changed. The market has changed. Vehicles aren't worth what they were. They're readily available. And you got to start wheeling and dealing again. Yeah. So let's say if one of these mom and pop stores did really well and, they might not have a second or third generation to take over the business, they're going to cash out. If it's like a bigger corporate auto group, maybe even outside of the St. Louis range that are buying dealerships, they just care more about market share.
Right.
They invest on either this market or another market, and they got enough money to test the water. So yes, we are going to see a lot more of that. I think you're going to see a lot more of outside corporations. Now you're going to have a handful of local auto groups that are always going to still be successful. But I mean, that's the one thing I would agree with you that I saw, that some of these smaller auto groups are selling out and retiring, and it may be a multiple factor thing. It might be there's no third generation to take over or have an interest of taking over, and they just cash out and right into the sunset, or they just feel like the market's not going where it needs to be. I think it's more brand specific.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that's going on right now, at least what probably me or you looking at, that there's one specific brand that's like, man, they're really moving and grooving and getting out of the game.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it is. I think there's multiple reasons why somebody might cash out and move, but yes, I would agree that you are seeing it more often where bigger conglomerates are coming in and auto groups are coming in and buying out, buying up.
Most of the time, especially here in our market, we've had quite a few out of towners come in, but I mean, like I know, a lot of them don't really last that long. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't think they get the same market share that they expect out of other groups. And what I think it is solely about what I've been kind of preaching about is customer service. So they might be in a major city to where that's not as important.
Okay.
Which I would disagree. It's always important, but maybe it's just something that's not solely focused on. To where they can sell cars in a different way. I always said, if we're talking specifically about St. Louis, I think we're a big town with small town attitude. We want to be treated fairly when buying a car. We want to trust someone and we want to build a relationship. I think in this market, the St. Louis market, we probably see more people buying from a brick and mortar dealership rather than buying it 100%. The dealer group that I work at, we have that option to where you can buy the car 100% online.
Yeah.
Only 10% of my business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it's
isn't it weird that that's like a thing now? We have concierge as well, where you don't even have to come to the dealership to buy. And that's probably less than 5% of our business, because in our town, people still want the face-to-face interaction. They still want that customer service interaction. They want to feel special and important, as they should. I mean, that's the way they're supposed to feel when they come buy a car. But man, if you are a new salesperson coming into the industry, well, here, let me ask this. What's the difference, in your opinion, between a sales professional and a salesperson?
I mean, salesperson would to become a sales professional, you have to be ready to go, motivated to make a car deal, and just eager to learn. So when you become a salesperson, you do have the knowledge, but you're not you don't have all of it, if you will. I mean, you're still willing to learn. I mean, I'm a professional. I consider myself one, and
Absolutely.
I'm still learning. I think we'll always learn. So it's just being motivated, eager, and then really understanding what customer service is about.
Awesome answer, man. It's somebody asked me that at work the other day. What's the difference between a sales professional and a salesperson? And my answer was, just like anything else, it's amateur and then professional. You have to become an amateur before you're a professional. You're not freaking, everybody's not born with automatic talent to get into the car business and be like, you know what? From day one, I got everything. We've all seen people who try.
Right.
It never, ever pans out, man. You got to put the work in. And before you become a professional, you got to get through the salesperson part. And then once you do, once you get, I'm not going to say master, but once you get a little bit of experience, that's when you become a professional, man.
Having personality is a big plus. Being break ice, I mean, that's something that's not natural. I mean, not everybody knows me that's watching this. I'm a pretty short dude, right? So my thing was, when I got what we call a phone pop, I would pick up the phone, greet myself. Hi, this is Jimmy with XYZ dealership. Land them on the car, make sure it's available. And I would say, when you get here, ask for Big Jim. And when you see me, you'll know why they call me that. And then class walking up to greet him. And this guy's 6'5", and he's shaking my hand. He's like, "Hey, Big Jim." and we're all just laughing, having a good time.
See?
And that's how you kind of break ice, let people know that, it's not going to be a, terrible experience. We're going to have fun, and I'm going to take care of you. And
Yeah, it's not, you're not going to the dentist office getting a root canal.
Right, exactly.
You're actually coming to buy a car, which is, again, for most people, the second biggest purchase you're going to make. The one thing I do want you to understand is you're going to have a good time. And having a good time is, honestly, more important to people than the actual buying of the car part.
Right.
If they have a great time with a salesperson, that energy's transferred to the business office. That energy's transferred back to the salesperson at the end. Mm-hmm. Man, there's no way that customer experience wasn't amazing.
Right.
How many times you took picture, or even, especially where I work, man, I love getting food. And I will accept it. I'm a big dude. I like to eat. And when you did a good job, when the lady says, you know what, I'm going to bring you a plate.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, I will. And customer service now, man, you hit the nail on the head, bro. I think it is like the number one thing out of anything that you could train somebody right now. If you can master that part, because kind of the deal is kind of going to happen itself now. We're all hands-on managers now. If you're not, right. Hey, let me tell you something. If you're not a hands-on manager, you're not good. And I don't care. I'll offend you. You can say what you want to. It don't matter to me. If you're not a hands-on manager, you're not good. But now we're hands-on now. It's not just, hey, go tell them this. What did they say? Okay, go tell them. No. We're well past that now. We're well past that.
Right. Or, the old school, like, do you want to talk to him? I'm not getting anywhere. Why can't you?
Oh, my God. I look at it as, I hope is it my turn? When they come back, I'm like, is it my turn? Yeah. No. They get mad at me, though. They're like, no. I closed them. I'm like, oh, okay. I was just checking because, I love my turn.
Right.
My turn is awesome. I love it because as a manager, that's the time that you get to earn the salespeople's respect, man.
Yeah.
That's when you get to, if you want somebody to go to war with you or fight for you, you have to earn their respect. You do that by showing them you can do things that they may necessarily not be able to do. My favorite part is when I hear them say, now, I just said that. And I say, I know. And I thank you for that. Because the way we made this deal was I reiterated what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not just me. It's a team thing. You hit them with the left, I can hit them with the right. They just heard us say the same thing and know that we had no conversation. So that's when sales doesn't become sales and it just becomes a presentation, and that presentation leads into a car deal.
Right. It's getting involved early. At the dealerships that, not all, but most of them manage, because each type of market is a little bit different. But I made this thing called a 10-minute TO. Mm-hmm. So that means I want to talk to your customer within the first 10 minutes. I want to talk to a guest before they even go on a test drive, mm-hmm. and show them numbers. I want them to know that the upper management of the dealership, even any manager in the dealership, cares that they actually showed up and took the time to give us the opportunity to earn their business.
Hold on 1 second. Hey, y'all managers better write this down. He giving you pearls. He giving you the game right now. He don't have to do this. But he's giving you the game. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
So it's just being grateful, showing that you're grateful that you have someone in front of you that wants to do business with you and is giving you an opportunity. And I think, doing that, it shows the salespeople that you got their back as well, and you're willing to make a deal, and you're willing to get up. Just like you were saying, what I call a Sharpie manager, is, shoot out numbers. Anybody can do that.
Yes.
Using desking tools anybody can do it. You can train a Labrador to a deal. It is not science by any means. It is punching in numbers and printing out a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So if a manager nowadays is operating like that to where they won't get out, interact with the guests that are on their showroom, interact with service customers, even though it's not your department, you either need to wake up or you need to be retrained if you want to be successful in this business. When I worked at Lawndoff, I remember I'm gonna give a shout out to Sean Pleasant.
There you go.
I remember, and I had like the first desk that was in that new car building, and Sean would walk in, and he would the service department. I think where your probably office is now, service lounge is right there, and he'd walk through that lounge every day, and like, good morning to the best customers in the world, and like I was like, man, that is like, I want to be that dude because that's the energy.
There you go.
That's needed, and that's like not everyone got that earlier. So shout out to him for figuring
it out. There you go, SP. I'm actually in a tech strand with him and Gilbert, man, an accountability tech strand. So they beat me up all the time. So yeah, man, shout out to SP.
That always stuck with me. He probably don't even remember what the hell I'm talking about. Like, man, I was just sitting there doing my notes, or I didn't really, at the time, I was so green. I don't know what the hell I was typing, right? Because no one showed me. But but I was like, man, like that's, I thought that was customer service. You knew it put smiles on people's faces that were there, and you never know what they're there for. They could be going through something really bad, and the next thing they know, someone might come out and say, I'm sorry, your car with 150,000 miles needs a new engine. That is a stressful day for somebody.
Yeah.
So even as not people outside working in the service department coming out there, and if my memory serves me right, I think he was in finance.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was so unrelated to what he did, and he went out of his way to do that. I think that's what we're talking about is going out of your way, stepping out of your boundaries, and making sure that everyone that visits your dealership has a great experience, because that's what causes retention with employees and the people that shop with you.
Man, that's awesome, dude. It's I'm telling you again, for you all who maybe you're struggling a little bit, dude, Jimmy been dropping now. He's been giving you knowledge, man. Again, he does not have to do this. You don't have to. I text him. I said, bro, please, man, come on, please, let's get him, because the car business needs to be explained a little bit, and we got to help them. We got to help them. And sales managers, hey, now is not the time to be lazy. Now is not the time to sit there and be a Sharpie manager like my man just told you. Now is the time to master your skills, practice your skills, get better. Any person can sit there and write things on a piece of paper and say, go say this. Why are you saying that? Are you training the person in front of you? Are you scared to go to your deal? That's the one thing. If I hire a new salesperson, the first thing I ask them, your management staff, what did you like and what didn't you like? You'd be surprised, man, how many times the answer is, I just didn't feel like I got help.
Right.
I just didn't feel like I got help. Like, I was able to bring somebody back to the dealership that somebody stole from me, but I don't like when people take my stuff, Jimmy. So I was able to bring this person back, and the reason they came back was because, man, they flat out said they just don't want to sell cars. Once you work with a teammate, and I'm a teammate, I call it, we're team. I don't care, we team lined off, man. We're a team. Once you work with a teammate and not somebody who is a boss, and I'm not nobody's boss. I don't like that. I'm your teammate, because we're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure that the customer's happy and to make sure that we can deliver a car in the most professional manner that we can. And it's not a time to be lazy. If you are not a dual threat at the desk, shame on you. Right. Especially now. If you're not a hybrid, and that's what I use the term, if you're not a hybrid, it's going to be rough on you. It's going to be rough on you, because the era of the hybrid is here, and it ain't going nowhere. It's not. It's not going anywhere. The more knowledge you have, the more ways you know how to skin a cat, the better everybody else is. And these are the conversations, y'all, that in the car business that it's going to help us in the St. Louis market pull everybody forward, man. You know, it's okay for us to talk and to communicate with each other about how we can make each other better. We're not in competition with each other. He sells foreign, I sell domestic. That's fine. We can have this conversation. And even if we were, we still can have that conversation.
Right.
But hopefully next time we do some car stuff, man, it's more than just me and you on here, because in a minute, I'm gonna have my Champions Club. And in that Champions Club, I'm building it. Trust me. And in that Champions Club, you're going to have to be special. You're going to have to bring something to the table, and we're going to take this St. Louis market over, because we're going to change it for the better. Because it's a lot of people who pretend, and there's a lot of people who are not really ready or willing to put the work in. But nah, man, no more of that. The market's changing. Everything's changing. I love the new people that's coming in, because the one thing they do give you is energy. Now, how you deal with it is how you deal with it. But that's on us. If we're the leaders, we're the elite, we're the top, then we're supposed to figure out how to make them people dance and make them work. What say you?
I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, it's always going to be leading by example from this point.
Mm-hmm.
And just, when you're interviewing for your next, person that you're going to bring onto the team, you guys both got to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you're bringing in the right people, and the one thing for sure is make sure that you feel confident they're going to be good at what they do, and you can give this person the resources to be good.
Right.
The work ethic has to be there always. But also we have to supply people that are coming into this business with the proper tools to be successful, and instead of calling it a job, calling it a career.
Yeah, I love it, man. Other than that, bro, I appreciate you being on, Jimmy, man. I'm gonna have you back on, and like I said before, we're gonna have a Champions Club here pretty soon, brother, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna have 5 of the sharpest minds in the car business, and we're gonna take every facet of it, come together with something, man, that we can all help each other with, because it needs to be done. It should be done. And in order for us to get to where we need to be, it has to be done. So all the trainers that we've heard, all the trainers that we know, all the people that we know in the car business, I appreciate you. I thank you, because you all have helped me and Jimmy get to where we are. Whether we believe what you say or not, we've heard it. It's up to us to decide to use it. But all knowledge is good knowledge. What you do with it is up to you. Any last words for him, Jimmy? Give the people something, man.
Well, my first question, you brought up the Champions Club. Now, are you saying there's a possibility I'm going to be in this Champions Club, or am I going to be on the rafters doing the wave?
No, you already in it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
look how that goes. I got 3 other people in mind too, and you just wait till I tell you these 3 other people.
All right, sounds good.
Yes,
well, I appreciate you having me on. I think it was a great conversation, and I think that's just where the business needs to go to. I think there's some dealers in our market that are well ahead of what we're talking about, and there's some dealers that aren't. It's just about, where do you want to see your business? I mean, and what's most important to you? And at least where I work at and where I'm going to manage at, those are my beliefs, is, taking care of your people, making sure they're having fun at their job. They feel like they're safe at their job. They're not going to get blown out for 9 cars when they should have sold 10, or some old school thing. Make sure that your employees feel like they're at a safe place and they're not going to be threatened when all they're doing is just trying. And if they're not falling up to expectations, it's on you to help them get there, or at least guide them. They have to have motivation as well, self-motivation, that sometimes can't be taught. But you need to give them the proper tools. And when you hire somebody, take it seriously, and if that person is struggling, you need to ask yourself why I hired them, and then remind yourself why you hired them, and then move forward with helping them. And it's gonna help. It's gonna help you with more cars. I guarantee it.
Right on, brother. Man, again, I appreciate you, Don. Thank you for coming on, man. I'm gonna reach out soon, but again, I appreciate you. You part of the Champions Club. These 3 other people, brother, you just wait and see.
Sounds good.
We're going to shake it up a little bit. It's going to make some people uncomfortable, but guess what? Uncomfortable conversations stimulate mental growth.
Right. It happens. Absolutely.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Everybody, Jimmy, dope car dude, one of the best in town. Every now and then I'm going to bring you more and more. But this is a conversation that I was begging to happen and it needed to happen. Hopefully y'all got some stuff you can use. He gave y'all some knowledge. Rewind this thing, write that stuff down if you don't know it, because he didn't have to do that. The things that he's telling you is going to increase your money, increase your sales. And that was for free. In a minute, we're going to charge. No, I'm just joking.
Right. But, for 4 easy payments of.
There you go, bro. All right, man. Be easy.
All right. Take care. Thank you.